We're going to start tonight right with Avery on camera, making sure that she makes her debut because the Chiefs got a nice win over the Raiders. They got some things done. It's laid the groundwork for what needs to come next. It's a big step forward in getting ready for this postseason run and keeping some little blonde girl very, very happy with their progress. So welcome to the show tonight. It's RGR Live. This is Dan Harms. This is Avery. She's in charge of this whole mess. I'm Ryan. This is us going rogue on the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL, as well as, a number of other things. And yes, it was the Raiders, but that's going to be all right. Dan, I'm not going to put you on the spot yet because I don't know if she's ready, but hopefully you guys are doing well.
Yeah, we're doing good. It's bedtime routine ritual. She's got to come in, say goodnight, and obviously her face is completely blue because she just had a blue raspberry lollipop. So yeah, that's fun. Her teeth have to get scrubbed down massively before bed. So I apologize to the wife for that one, but we're doing good.
Oh, there's a lot worse ways to get that blue look. I'm just going to tell you now.
Yeah.
Good for her. Thank you, Mrs. Harms. Oh, Thundarius, hope you're doing well, buddy. And I'm glad you're already counting down to Christmas Day. Well done. The advent calendar starts in like 3 days, and my wife got me one. If you guys want something cool, if you're a whiskey aficionado, go over to RGR Craft, or maybe I'll just put it in social media. Got an advent calendar of a nice mixture of whiskeys. You can get that through us over at Flavier. So check that out. If you want to be a member here, that certainly helps. You're going to get my notes tomorrow. You're going to get Dan's behind the scenes, rants. You're going to get my custom thoughts, as well as a number of other things. So join that membership underneath Dan and connect your YouTube. Again, I think, Daniel, I talked to you last night, but shout out for everybody. All you new members, go to Discord, and in the connections tab, all you have to do is connect your YouTube account, and you'll be right into the full-on, not just the lobby room of the RGR Nation Discord. So, lot to cover here. This is your show. You're going to run it. We're just taking your questions in order to set it up. I'm stacking some now. So is Dan. We're going to get after it here in just a minute. But let's take a second to enjoy the fact that this was a sorting out of sorts, to tell you the truth. Yes, it was an unprepared and, quite frankly, under-talented consortium of players in Las Vegas. I don't know whether you blame the players. I'm not trying to lay it all at their feet, or if it's the staff, or the fact that it's new, or the fact that it's just kind of a messed up season for them. But this was not a team that you really needed to be scared of. But yet the Chiefs were able to rest some players that they needed to. Fair enough. But also they got down to basics and they simplified some things. And I think that's the big takeaway after checking out the stats. And I haven't seen the 22 yet, but overall it comes back to, don't make life hard on yourself. Just make things simple, right?
Exactly. Like that, they've harped on execution for the last month. And when they don't execute, they turn the ball over or they don't get first downs and bad things happen. So they did that. And we saw the inexecutions on their first two drives. They didn't execute. And look what happened. They couldn't do anything. Then we were like, oh, wait. Then they actually started to execute. And funny enough, they got Marcus Peters kind of released because he was not caring at all. He was not caring at all about what was going on. And they benched him and then cut him the next day because he didn't want any part of anything. It's been that way for a while. But when you're just letting Isaiah Pacheco into the flat for a 10-plus yard gain and you just don't react to it, it's done. It's done.
It's toast.
They needed to have a game where they could get right, and the Raiders came out and they put a hurt on them early. And honestly, that game probably should have been 21-0. Probably should have been 17, obviously, because of the missed field goal. Take advantage of what you got, and you work from there. And they did.
I'm with you there. Rome, welcome. Glad you made it. Nice to see you. And I appreciate your being around. I do want to share with you guys what those stats look like, especially in light of the Peters dismissal. When you look at coverage page for the Raiders, Marcus is way the hell down here at 11.
Yeah.
You know who's up higher? Amik Robinson. Amik was the guy that made me go watch La Tech film that year.
Yeah.
And I found his teammate, L'Jarius Sneed, on that film. It's cool that he's managed to stay in the league. I honestly didn't think of it pre-game because he hadn't been getting that many snaps, but put in nearly a full slate last night. Good for him. I was kind of happy to see that today.
He's been playing kind of actually pretty well. And he
Yeah.
got dunked on by Rashee Rice on the outside because he's a bit smaller than Rashee Rice. And that's a matchup
He's,
right there. That's all it is. He's a good player. He is a
yeah.
good player. Like he's a very good, solid nickel corner that can play on the outside a little bit because he's really technically sound. And that was one thing we noticed. Like I'm pretty sure we had like an early day 3 grade on him coming out, and it's just like he's a good ball player. You just get those guys get drafted, and maybe they're not going to stick in the league forever. But it's nice to see him getting some reps with a team that desperately needs good players. And he's he's not a great player. He's a good player, and he plays hard. You love to see that, honestly. You do.
Yeah, he's a little wee. That's all right. I like the concept that if they have to move on from Legarius, Meek's going to be a free agent at the same time. So hey, you never know. Trade a nickel for an outside guy, build up the depth. A guy like that would probably be what, 4th, 5th on the roster in terms of this team in Kansas City. That kind of depth, if you can get down that deep and still be that good, like that's a nice luxury to have. So I have a tendency, I'm not as bad as Brett Veach, that like once I have a decent grade on somebody, I'd never forget them, but I do hold on to it for a little while.
We all kind of hold on to him.
Right.
We don't have the recollection that Brett Veach does because he doesn't. I don't have a list of all of my notes that go back in my brain. It doesn't really work that way yet. Maybe one day. Maybe we'll see.
I only have 10 years. That's it. Beyond that, I'm out of luck. That was sarcasm, folks. Anyway, we're going to get to your questions. Make sure you like, sub, hit that bell if you've had enough of us yakking already. It's about to get footballish here right now. Any thoughts on if Morris showed enough last week and looks on track to replace Donovan Smith next year? And I will just say 5 snaps, three pass pro, 2 runs. What'd you think?
I mean, I don't think he was bad.
Yeah.
But again, it's 5 snaps. It's hard to really give a great breakdown of what a player does in limited snaps. And for some reason, there we go. I was about to say, I can't find what I'm looking for on my computer because it wasn't showing up. But I do have, a nice little clip here that is, it's him doing a good job. Like that's just what it is. And let's see if I can actually pull it up because it's not wanting to load. There we go.
Take your time. Okay, I was going to say.
So here is Wanye Morris. He gets help with the double, but this is just an effort, and I'm going to put you in the dirt. I'm going to finish the play. That's what he does. That's what he's going to bring. I can't tell who that is.
That's Tyree Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
So you know what?
That's Tyree Wilson.
Drafted 60 players before you. Eat some dirt,
that's
bro.
Right. I forgot. Yeah, that's oh, buddy. I forgot he was even on the team because he's done nothing for them.
Right.
That's one in Morris putting him in the dirt. And then, he got some help later on some of his pass snaps. I don't think he was a bad pass protection guy at all. Like PFF gave him a terrible grade in pass protection, which I'm not shocked. That's just what they do. And he wasn't bad. He's a good player. I think he's going to be fine.
I hope so
my
too.
voice is going in and out.
Oh, I'll make up for you. Don't worry. I hope that he can be. So here's the thing. First round, 7th overall. And your 3rd round tackle just put him in the dirt.
In the dirt.
Yeah, I just want to point that out for I know there's nobody on this channel that was calling me out last year, but when I said Tyree's not worth a 1st round pick, I'm telling you, there's a ways for him to go there. Absolutely.
We were both there. We did not like Tyree Wilson in the 1st round. We didn't like it. And then you went up and got him in the top 10. So that was interesting. But Jeremy, to answer the bulk of your question, we don't have enough information. I think that there's potential there. He's a good mover. He's got power, and I like that in the run game, he's going to offer you more than Donovan Smith does. Very honest. Just does. Even right now, he'd be a better run blocker than Donovan Smith is. I don't know if he'd be an upgrade in pass protection. I need like 20 snaps. I need 20 consecutive snaps to give you a really good idea, because that would be like, all right, we'll see how he bounces back, because you're going to lose one of them in there somewhere. Yeah. How do you bounce back from that? So it's not enough to really go off of, but he has potential in this league to be a starting tackle. I don't know if it's left. I don't know if it's right, but I know he can probably start for this team in the coming years.
Yeah, I got to see the development. I definitely liked him better at right in college, but because he hasn't been on the field much, we haven't necessarily seen the progression. That looked decent. I know PFF did not grade Wanya out very well. I'm not going to say that that means anything because you guys know how I feel, especially about offensive line on PFF. So we're not going there. But there's, like Dan said, there's potential. I got to see it come together, and I got to see some.
So we got some questions to get to before we keep going here. We've got 4 stacked up that apparently Ryan doesn't have. So Micah's always in here asking questions at the beginning. Mahomes' cap hit is $57 million next year and $60 million in 2025. Does need to restructure to re-sign defensive players, offensive linemen, and rebuild the wide receiver room. Ryan, what do you think about the potential of every single year Patrick Mahomes is restructuring his contract?
Yes, I'll take some. Thank you very much. That is the general design of this contract, is to take every year. On the years that they haven't, I think there's 2 of them now that I remember, because they did not end up taking some this last offseason, just as it got going. If you don't have to, you get yourself ahead of the curve a little bit, but that's what it's there for. That's why they have these ginormous bonuses that they can then go shift and recoup some of that cap. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, right.
So whether it's for specifically defensive players or a left tackle or wide receiver, which I think are the top 2 needs right now, we'll have to just see like how it goes. So for me, clearly, I don't get to see any of the questions that are there before I join the chat. So after you, my friend.
So we've got 4 more or 3 more here before we get going back here. Micah has another one, as always. It seems to line up some good ones here. What are you seeing on the All-22 with Rice and not beating man coverage? Sky Moore does too many wasted head and body fakes in which the DB doesn't buy. Are you seeing that too? So you're feeding me questions of things that we have kind of reiterated in the past. But yes, Sky Moore wastes a lot of movement. Getting into the tape from yesterday, so far, I'm not seeing a ton of that. That's good news. Maybe they're seeing it too. So yes, honestly, Sky felt like he had to be perfect. Like he was trying too hard to make the perfect miss, to make the guy miss every time. Run your route, buddy. Do it in just quick, boom, boom. That's going to give you better opportunities to catch the football, period. And yeah, Rashee Rice is still adjusting to the NFL game with creating separation because in all honesty, he wasn't very good at it in college. And he played at SMU, where you're not playing some of the best defensive backs in the country every single week. And he was used as a deep ball, go get it guy. He wasn't really asked to create a ton of separation. Like it wasn't his game. So he's learning right now how to be a zone beater. And when you master that, the playbook for him opens up, because then we saw yesterday, Patrick was like, okay, I see I got a smaller matchup. I know you got ball skills. Yeah, I'll just throw it up to you. And guess what? He had a beautiful little over-the-shoulder toe tap. And that was a glimpse of what he could do in one-on-one situation. So I think the best is yet to come for Rashee Rice, but it's going to still take some time to beat man coverage consistently. He also might not do it. He might just be a better possession guy against man coverage, which I'm okay with. Totally okay with. How do you feel?
There's streakers. There's deep threats. There's even some Tyreek Hill types out there. I wouldn't call Tank Dell a Tyreek type, but there are smaller bodied, quicker, short area guys that are going to be out there in this next class, and the class after that, and the class after that. And the NFL is moving farther and farther towards allowing guys, A, to be young and be first-year receivers, and B, to be small and quick that can survive in this league because they're protecting them with contact, especially across the middle of the field. So as the world turns, to use that one, it's more and more viable that a smaller, quicker, maybe less formidably physically receiver can make things go. So certainly that means that she can. I like the coverage aspect, like the possession aspect that you're talking about, because you could take some of those smaller guys, put them on deep routes, let them do those kind of crafty things, just let him be the workman underneath. If he's somewhere between Dwayne Bowe and Sammy Watkins, I'm happy as a clam. So, hey,
perfect.
Let's go get 3 more of them.
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you for the question, Micah. I appreciate it. The Words on Fire podcast, excuse me. Help me understand, please. People who are more savvy football savvy than me say we have a great offensive line. Why does it look like Pat is always running for his life behind the line of scrimmage? Why don't you take the head on this question, Ryan?
Because Patrick pushes the limit on every single dang play. He hangs in there and hangs in there. Last night, I think it was 3.8 time to throw. So he hung in there to the last second, even with Max bearing down on him. And Max is not 100%. Let's be real about that. Turns out he was in the hospital last week and things like that. But Patrick waits until it's past the reasonable point for especially the interior three to be holding out good pass rushers. That's what happened against the Eagles in particular. Last night, it was a little bit more helter-skelter, and then he tries to then run for his life. Because I agree with you. It does look like it's like 0 to 60 because he just runs out of space. I will say that overall, I do feel like even though they're a talented offensive line, I think they're just as good as they have been overall. I do feel like they're getting pushed a little bit more. The pocket is collapsing more with these tackles than it has in the past. Just like the aspect of leaving them on their islands out there, it means that Patrick's feeling a little bit more squeeze. And it's not ever something that he's hung with a whole lot to stay in the pocket when it's getting compressed. But that's why it feels like it to me, Words.
I don't disagree with that. Longest time to throw in his career this year as Patrick. And a lot of that has to do with guys not getting open quickly and learning the offense and getting on the same page with Patrick. So there's, I think, growth there. He got the ball out quickly at times yesterday, but also they wanted to let their plays develop. And sometimes you're going to get beat with that. I don't know if you know, but Cody in the comments put in here really quickly. Did you guys know the thumbnail is for Locked On Chiefs? I just looked at it, and it is for Locked On Chiefs. I didn't know what happened there.
Well, that kind of sucks. I'm going to grab a laptop and fix that. Go ahead with the next question.
All right. I appreciate that, Cody, for pointing that out there. Jake from State Farm, thank you for your question. Also, words on fire. Appreciate that. A lot of our best players are due to be resigned this year or next year. Who do we keep and who do we let go? Well, that's a very loaded question, Jake. If we had insurance like State Farm, I would say that we'd be able to keep everybody and not have to worry about anything. But
tonight's segment brought to you by the guys in red.
It just so happens that the Kansas City Chiefs players are also sponsored by State Farm, so that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. This is going to be about saving a little bit of money at times. If you have players like Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed that maybe want more than the Chiefs want to pay them, you might end up seeing some tags and trades, things of that nature. Also, there's the opportunity that the open market doesn't yield what they want to, and they come back anyway. But at the end of the day, you're going to lose some players. You're going to keep some. I'm not entirely sold right now that Chris Jones is going to be in Kansas City next year. I'm starting to think that maybe he won't be. I'm starting to be thinking that even more and more that the way that they're playing right now and they're saving one of their defensive ends that they drafted in the first round this past year, who's not playing because he's learning the entire defense, because next year he's going to be a starter and Charles Omeni, who's going to kick into 3-tech. That's my feeling right now, that Chris Jones isn't going to be in Kansas City next year and they're going to have to trade him in some way, shape, or form. That's my feeling. So I can't tell you who's going to be resigned. I wish I could. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm about 90% sure that Drew Tranquill will be resigned because he's a vital part of their defense, in my opinion. Not just depth, but starting in playing a lot. So he's one guy I'm pretty confident. I don't know about you, but if you want to chime in quickly and then get back to fixing the thumbnail, go for it.
It's fixed, folks. Anybody wants to jump out of the chat for a second, double check that for me, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, but I do agree. I do think Drew should be back. I think that's smart. I think it's economical, and I think it makes a whole lot of sense, especially for a guy who's been playing in Los Angeles for a number of years and watching Chargers do Charger things. This postseason run, I think, is going to seal the deal for him wanting to be back. I think it's personally a great fit, and honestly, at his level, even if you tripled his salary, he's on a 1 year, like I think he's making 1.8. Like you could easily triple that and be well within the range of a guy that is going to be at least a 50% starter for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I like it.
All right, now we are all caught up. Appreciate that, Jake. Now we are with Brazilian Chief. I believe you had this queued up to go. I won't be able to watch it tonight because of work. Oh, that sucks, man. Well, we'll got to work sometime. So hope that you get a chance to check it out later. But what do you guys think of football? A fullback, heavy running Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I mean, is there a bigger dream that could happen for me? Just to have anyone be a fullback. And honestly, if you change the R to F on the roster and make CEH a fullback right now, he's faster than the average fullback. He's got better hands than the average fullback. He can't block for nothing, but half the fullbacks that play, or half the teams that have fullbacks, they can't do it either. They're glorified H-backs. If you wanted to do that today, I'm perfectly fine with it. But I would actually isn't Ben Mason scheduled to be a free agent there, Dan?
Yes.
You're a guy from Michigan. I want a real one.
I'd like to have a real fullback too. But at the end of the day, tight ends, they need to be using more H-backs, in my opinion. I think we saw it a little bit more with Travis Kelce in the backfield, that they kind of like doing that a little bit and getting some different matchups. And I think that should be the way forward for the Chiefs at the quote unquote fullback H-back system. Whoever they end up bringing in, because I do believe we're going to see them draft another tight end this draft cycle. Blake Bell shouldn't be back. I don't think you can consistently say Jody Fortson's going to be playing. So there's needed positional help there.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to jump around, and then I'm going to let you take over, because I love this where you read the questions, because it keeps me from interpreting them wrong. But Jack had this one in there a little bit down the road, but I do want to see that. And I'm glad that you bring that up, because he threatened and his job lost and everything else. CH is running harder, more authoritative. I like the way that you put that. And I think that that's a good thing. I hate to tell y'all, he could have no market on the open market and end up right back in Kansas City. I'm just going to warn you. But if he can run hard like that and spell Pacheco from time to time, I'm fine with it, Jack. And I appreciate the super chat. Thanks for the support, and thanks for letting us know your opinion.
It's funny. Right before we came on, I was telling Ryan that they missed Clyde Edwards-Helaire up the seam on a big play, wide open. He's wide open up the seam. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if you see Clyde Edwards-Helaire running some routes the rest of the season, because that's a route that Isaiah Pacheco apparently can't run, but they asked Clyde to do it. He also ran a rail route down the right-hand sideline. I'm just saying, it's funny. We might actually see Clyde Edwards-Helaire being used properly when he's more of a fullback. That's really weird.
As we said the night he was drafted. Yeah, that'd be perfect. You just had to fail completely and be basically hardly on the roster. Son of a
jeez.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you for the super chat, Jack. Appreciate you guys talking about Clyde, my guy, who's finally showing some life. Chris, what's going on, man? Any chance the Chiefs move Juwan Taylor to left side next year? Do you think he has lived up to being the second highest right tackle? So I talked about this a little bit last night. Juwan Taylor is the offensive equivalent of L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed gets penalized a lot. Really good player. I don't care about the penalties. Juwan Taylor gets penalized a lot. I even think maybe closer to a third of them were targeted from the league. I believe that. I fully believe it. So they don't bother me personally. He's a really good player. He did handle a large majority of Max Crosby, who was still working his way. I respect that guy so much. I don't like some of the stuff that I don't like some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, or the way he does some of the way he handles himself outside of playing football. But he's a really good football player and he loves to play. So I think he's lived up to his contract and what the Chiefs brought him in to do. What about you?
I do not disagree. And Max Crosby is a free agent in 3 years, so I'm just saying.
3 years. 3 years.
He's technically under contract through 26 right now. But let's see, there are two of those that there's zero guaranteed salary, so that out is basically after 2024. If they do have to tear it all down and rebuild it in Los Angeles or in Las Vegas, hey, why not? Come on over to the red side. That's what I say.
Why not? Appreciate you, Chris. Hope that answered the majority of your question. Justin, what's going on, man? Welcome back tonight. will we finish this season 17-3 as Super Bowl champions? The answer is yes. Well,
I
this
love it.
kind
You
of
ask a question and answers it.
it does. You answer your own question. You make it easy for us. You guys are running the show, and when you answer your own questions, I mean, that's cool. But this kind of plays into what Quentin was talking about later. And where do you place the Chiefs' chances of going into the playoffs as the 1 seed? Because again, if you believe that they finish with 3 losses, that means that their hands of being the 1 seed are theirs. Because regardless of what the Ravens do, I think, when they hit their bye, if the Chiefs have the same record as the Ravens do after the bye, the Chiefs retain the 1 seed. I believe that's how it works because they have a
That
better
is correct.
in-division
The
record.
Chiefs have 1 loss in conference. They have 3.
Exactly. So if you believe they don't have any more losses on the season, the Chiefs will be the 1 seed at the end of it. It does not matter what else happens. They will be the 1 seed. Their chances, in my opinion, I'm close to an 85% chance the Chiefs will be the number 1 seed at the end. I fully believe that this is one of those confidence building games. I don't know about you, or I guess I should point this way because that's the way that
I was going to say 75%, so I'm right there with you. I mean, they get to play New England, the worst team in the AFC. They get to play the Chargers or the Raiders again, 2 bottom 5. They get Cincinnati, who's crippled without their quarterback. Buffalo is the big hurdle, right? And they're not playing that great. Let's not fall asleep on the Green Bay Packers. I'm just saying.
No.
For those of you that are around, I'm going to have some pregame for you. I will be at the Chiefs-Packers game. So if you're going to be tailgating, let me know where you're at because I have not been to Lambeau before. So bucket list trip for me, and I will have some live, at least some shorts, but maybe a live stream from Lambeau. So keep that in mind. So let's not fall asleep on them. But as long as you take care of business, I agree with you. Like I think they could run this back end here.
Love it. Appreciate that little duo, you guys, with Quentin and Justin giving us some questions there. All right. Quinn, welcome in. You guys, fantastic. 300 plus in here on a Monday evening talking football, talking Chiefs, loving it. Do you think Andy is going to keep tinkering with the wide receivers when Tony and Hardman come back, or possibly even Ross? I think it was refreshing to see the wide receivers cut down. I'm going to let Ryan take this one because I'm going to lose it a little bit. And I know that Ryan's going to be a little bit more calm about the situation. And so he'll go first and then I'll cut in at the end.
Yeah, Den's definitely on the YOLO trip tonight. Let me be coy by being real. I would love Andy to just leave it the hell alone, but Andy doesn't do that. He's gonna tinker. Hopefully, he does it in a pretty straightforward way, especially with Hardman, because Hardman's a known quantity. Yeah. There's a possible argument to be made that Tony still got to explore maybe a little bit. I could at least get the argument. I'm not sure what in the hell is going on with Ross. I don't know if they're just going to cut bait. I don't know why they're stringing it along. Honestly, I just don't have any way to predict that. I think there's something internal going on. And I don't know what it is.
Well, it was revealed today that Ross will not be facing criminal charges anymore. So that leg of the situation is at least resolved. Now it's up to the commissioner, it's up to the Chiefs and the NFL, whatever they're going to do with that. So I don't know. All I know right now is that players that have been on the team and playing recently will be involved. Now, the wide receiver room, I think we need to see exactly what we saw yesterday going forward. Maybe a little bit less of MVS in terms of his snap share. I don't have a problem with him, still rotating in because he does command deep respect. He just does. He's a deep player. And Sky, Watson, and Rice were your 1, 2, 3 guys that played the majority of the snaps for the receivers. I think that's how it should be. I know everyone still thinks this guy Moore is a bust, and I'm just not there. I'm not going to be there, so that's fine. I still think they need to upgrade the position in the offseason. Different stories. So Tony's probably going to get more work, should get more work as a traditional receiver. I'm done with the running back. I'm done with the punt stuff. I'm done. Period. End of story. I'm tired of it.
Well, and I think they want to sprinkle James back in, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I agree.
So it may be just kind of those 3 guys of James, Tony, Hardman, who clicks, who gets something done. I don't know what the deal is, Tony, right now. Whatever it was that got him this, what is it, hip? whatever that is, I mean, he came out, he played the ball game. He got beat up a little bit. Maybe you overused him a little bit in the punt game. I'm just saying. But if you can't get through that, like, it's hard to see him, playing 30 snaps a game and getting 12 targets. That just doesn't look like it's in his future.
No, I'm with you. And they wanted him to be the one. That's not in his future. It's just not. He's not going to be able to live up to that. So I appreciate the question. We're going to speed up a little bit here to get through some of these questions so we can try to get to all of them tonight. Quentin, thank you again.
Type you a message. Hold on.
No, see, I caught it. I caught it this time. Are we hitting the panic button on the wide receiver room? So this kind of plays into what we were just talking about. No. Right now, they look exactly like they did last year. Exactly like they did last year. If Rashee Rice plays the role of Juju Smith-Schuster, they won a Super Bowl with that same wide receiver room. Again, if this is how it's going to be going forward, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, this game works. As the prototype, this works.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Quentin. Steve, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. What do you think of Dave Merritt as a coach and a possible future defensive coordinator? Ryan.
I think Dave Merritt is very, very, very good at being a secondary coach, particularly with safeties. I know that there's been a little bit back and forth with the corners. I know he's been a defensive coordinator before. I don't know that he wants to go back to that. And quite frankly, he's doing a hell of a job with the DBs. I would leave him right where he is myself. But you have Joe Cullen that will be a defensive coordinator again, either in this town or another one. You have Daly, who I think might get that chance as well. So there is plenty of room. You're not hurting for an internal hire if Steve Spagnuolo retires tomorrow.
Let's be honest. Daly was with the defensive line first. You could say that their production wasn't very good. He's been with the linebackers for the last few years. They've outkicked their coverage, in my opinion. They've gotten really good returns out of the linebackers that they've got on their roster. So I think he's done a fantastic job. And that's what they're grooming him to do by multiple different places that he's been at. So yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all that he'd be the next up to maybe get a look at for a defensive coordinator position somewhere. Thank you, Steve. Jonathan, thank you for your question. What are your thoughts on Watson getting in the face of the Raiders player after he scored that touchdown after that unnecessary hit? Part of me kind of liked seeing him do it. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. That's how you should play football. Someone knocks your ass on the ground, which is, by the way, that was an illegal hit.
Ding, ding, ding.
And then you get up after you score a touchdown and say, what? Which is not what he said, obviously, because he wouldn't get thrown a flag for saying that to someone. But that's what happens. I love that. I love that.
I was screaming, hell yeah, Justin Watson. I said, throw him the elbow because I know he has that chunky brace on it. So give it to him is what I said.
He's been without it for a couple games.
Oh,
it's funny. My wife was like, I don't like it when people do that and they get penalties. And then she saw the play back and she was like, never mind, we're good.
right. Yeah, that works. I'm trying to remember what I wrote in my notes. Talking that stuff after he gets knocked on his butt.
Absolutely.
I wrote in my notes.
That's awesome. Appreciate it, Jonathan. We're going to skip up here to Toad Sage Tommy. Loving it. Why does Dan disagree with me that we should get T. Higgins? Well, the biggest reason is the Chiefs don't have the money to do it, especially if they're going to try to sign some of their players. But the next thing is that T. Higgins is not a dynamic offensive changing player. He's not. I think he's going to be a one on a different team, but you have to understand what you're bringing into Kansas City. He's not getting 10 targets a game. He's not. And you want to know what he's going to demand? Probably around 10 targets a game and $20 million a year, because that's what he wants to be. He wants to prove that. He's not proving that in Kansas City. He's also not a very diverse route runner. He's not I'm going to be a Rashee Rice. I'm going to get in this zone and then I'm going to run past guys. That's not his game. He's a possession receiver that makes dunks, that will dunk on guys. That's good. The Chiefs don't use that. That's why I'm against bringing T. Higgins in.
I think bottom line is it's not even should, it's could. And I don't think the money would work out for that.
I'm with you. So I hope that answers your question, Toad Sage. And just Just know, I'm not arguing with you. My ideas just differ about what T. Higgins brings to this team. That's all. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Mario, do you think these offensive line penalties will bite us in the playoffs?
Yes.
If it continues to happen, yeah, it absolutely will.
It will be at least a hiccup. Will it cost them a game, if that's what you mean by bite them? I don't know that it'll cost them a game, but it will hurt them. It'll cost them a couple of drives. It will be a frustration. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's frustrating. Hopefully these work themselves out. That's kind of what we all hope the penalties do, and that's what you have to kind of consistently hope for as the season goes along, especially when you have two of the most penalized players in the NFL. Gary, thanks for being here every single. Again, hats off to Gary, one of our mods. Thank you very much, Gary, for everything you do. Ryan and Dan, I feel this 2024 class of receivers will be better than the 29. I think you might mean 23, right? Or maybe he's talking about the 2020 class with Jamar Chase.
Yeah, the 9's right next to 0 on the keyboard. I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with you. I think that's the right class, if I'm not mistaken. Because, yeah, that 2019 team was Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and then 2020 was the draft. So
yeah,
that's what I'm going to go ahead and say. It definitely has the opportunity to do so because Marvin Harrison might be the best receiver to come out. He might be the best wide receiver prospect of all time. I mean, considering his profile, his ability, he might be. Like, that's not hyperbole to say that, by the way. It's not. I mean, Calvin Johnson is going to be like, he's in that echelon in terms of prospects. He is.
Well, and let's go back a couple of years. The kid who won Rookie of the Year last year played with Olave, who's, I think, playing very well in this league now. And they both said that Jackson Smith was better than him. And Jackson said, yeah, well, Marvin's better than me. So, yeah. Like, you could see it tick away.
Absolutely. So there's definitely a chance. I think that there could be 7 receivers drafted in the first round, maybe 8. This could be legitimately a crazy class of wide receivers being drafted in the first round. So yeah, I'm with you, Gary. It definitely could be. Appreciate you. Metal Rocker. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Dan. It's great to see you again. Great win, by the way. Yeah, loving it. Fantastic win to get back on the right track. I loved how they moved the ball effectively. Do you think that this performance is Rice the number 1 wide receiver moving forward? I thought he established that a long time ago. The Chiefs didn't agree with me. But after you have a performance like the Chiefs did with MVS and Justin Watson, makes you reevaluate some of your priorities. And it was a priority to get him the football. 10 targets. 10 targets. I'm sorry. It's Rashee Rice, and then it's everybody else. Well,
I'm with him.
Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and everybody else. So, yeah, I think absolutely Metal Rocker absolutely was. Thank you for your question. Oregon Fishing, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. So they proved that using less receivers and Rashee stepping up work. Why not target Noah more and free up Kelce?
That's exactly our thoughts post game last night as well. Oregon, like, balance it out, give him a little bit more support. I don't know that you have to game plan for Noah Gray, but yeah, get it so that the second route is actually viable and it's not just a distraction, or it's not just to be in place for a yak block or something like that.
No, yeah, they did a good job of actually like using him in where Travis was running his route. They just did a spot route behind where Travis was running, and Noah's like, "Hey, they're taking him. Just throw me the ball. I'm wide open. Hi." Yeah, it was great.
Get yourself an A/B, and whoever the defender in between takes, there you go.
Absolutely, it was great. It was great. So yeah, Oregon, yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to keep doing it. I think they will. Justin, thank you again. Another question. We sat players that could have played while they played guys that needed surgery after the season. Oh, yikes. Teams are desperate to beat us, Yeah. This is like most teams' Super Bowl. Like the Raiders that aren't going to get there, the Broncos. That's the reason that they turn their season around. They beat the Chiefs. They're like, hey, we can turn the tables here. It makes you reevaluate Super Bowl
on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah. It's tough out there for the Chiefs. They have to go up against most of the teams' best efforts every single week, and not a lot of teams have to do that. So yeah, it definitely is.
And by
Thank
the
you.
way, for Justin, not to cut you off, Dan. Sorry, Justin. I
No, you're
didn't mean
good.
to throw you off about Tim Burton. I'm not anti-Burton all the time. There's just a few that really, really get under my skin. He ruined the second Planet of the Apes possibilities to me. So sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Jonathan, do you guys think that Snead and McDuffie are by far the best corners in the NFL right now? They have been playing lockdown all season. I don't
That
think
is a
they're the
great.
best. I think that they're a top 3 duo in the NFL.
Agreed. As a pair, yeah, and I think they're pushing for that. That's what I was just trying to look up, is like pairs, like duos together.
Mhm.
Who else am I putting on top of them, right? I mean, they're a combined 63-ish% completion allowed. I mean, Sauce is great. DJ Reed's playing well. You could put them up against it. DJ's giving up like 74%. Sauce is at 64. A couple of penalties there. Sauce, 6 forced incompletions, but doesn't have a pick. DJ has 1 pick, but no PBUs. I think that's within the realm of argument there. But as a single best player, I think you can argue Ramsey. I think you can argue Sauce in particular. I don't know. Has Trey Diggs' game really fallen off that much? Because I probably still put him up there above these guys too. I don't know.
Well, Diggs has been injured for the majority of the season.
Yeah.
But Deron
Oh,
Bland has come in and got 5 pick sixes on the year. He's been playing as maybe the best corner in football. And it wouldn't surprise me if he continues this trajectory, if he's the defensive player of the year, because that's insane. You set a record for
yeah, and
most pick sixes.
I totally forgot about him because I'm fixated on
Yeah.
Diggs. He's only given up 52.5% completion percentage either, on top of the pick sixes.
Yeah, he's been insane.
Good Lord.
And he was a
Good
fifth,
Lord, that's a lot of
I
points.
think he was a fifth. I think he was an undrafted free agent, or he was a 5th round pick or something like that. He was a lowly drafted player. No one expected this out of him. So they're definitely good, Jonathan. They're absolutely, in my opinion, a top 3 duo in the NFL. And I don't think that's hyperbole. They're that good.
No.
All right. I don't know if you guys are watching Monday Night Football. Snooze Fest 0-0 in the second quarter. Woo! All right, Cody. Thank you for your question. Good to see you guys. Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Wondering thoughts on the young players contributing. Is it a flash in the pan, or with the remaining schedule seemingly a bit easier, will we see them getting more reps? I'm going to assume you're talking about guys like Connor and Wanya Morris that have sparingly played in a few times instead of the guys who have been playing the majority of the season. I think you're going to see Connor continue to get sprinkled in. That's kind of his role right now. He's a guy who gets sprinkled in every now and then. They blitzed him a bit. They've played him in man coverage. They played him in zone a little bit as well. They've also played him as that when they needed him to be that dime backer player or that third linebacker. When they played the Dolphins, he played that role too. So he's going to play a lot, because this is kind of like what Brian Cook was doing last year. They're going to say, hey, we might not have Mike Edwards next year, which they probably won't, and you're going to be taking over that spot for us. So here, go ahead and learn everything you're going to need to do.
Missed tackle Mike after yesterday. Dang it.
Yeah, right. That was a yeah.
It's a good way to put it, Dan.
Yeah. I'm not happy about that missed tackle.
Yeah, I agree.
Appreciate it, Cody. All right, Voodoo. Do you think the Chiefs tag and trade Jones in the offseason? They could get him an early 2024 first and fourth for him? What do you think?
I think the tag's going on. I think it's the tone. I think it's all up to the Katz brothers. If they want to be reasonable, they can get it done. If they don't, then you're going to have to explore trades. But the tag's going on either way, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Probably. I think they kind of have to. They don't have much leverage right now with what happened in the offseason. Actually, early in the regular season, they don't have much leverage. So definitely possible, Voodoo. We definitely see. I think both of us think that they're going to tag him. And I'm leaning more to trade right now. Oh, I'm going to mispronounce this. Desi. We're just going to go with Desi. I love our offense has kind of come to life playing the Raiders, but I noticed a lot of screen pass and short throws yesterday as the majority. Is this the future, or do you see us going deep soon? This was a game plan. They wanted to attack the linebackers of the Raiders. They're not very good in coverage. And if you guys noticed, even when they get cornerbacks on running backs and tight ends, They're not very good at that either. This was just a kind of a schematic thing. And also over the middle of the field, you guys saw Rashee Rice ate it up.
Yeah.
Attention. Travis Kelce brings gravity, defensive gravity everywhere he goes. You can take advantage of that. And they did.
Yeah. You're not going to see that against the Bills. Bills safety duo is there. You know what I mean?
You could see it against the Packers, though.
Possibly. Definitely, I'm attacking all the Chargers deep. But again, I think it's going to be not the steady diet that we've seen in the past. It's going to be more opportunity based.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. Josh, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Does Devin Neal have an NFL upside? A fit in KC? We hooked the Wildcats out last year with the FAU. Let's get some Jayhawk love now. So since Ryan is the resident Jayhawk, I think he's pretty happy about this one.
What I'm really happy about is I don't think he's going to burn up the combine. He reminds me of Kareem Hunt coming out just fast enough to win in a foot race when he gets a good lead and makes a nice cut. I don't think he's going high. I think he's going to be perfect range for the Chiefs, somewhere between the 5th and the 7th, or maybe even UDFA. I love to see him just come 45 minutes east and be happy. Let's cross our fingers, Josh.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I love getting players that slide down draft boards and fall to Kansas City. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's happened to quite a few. Werewolf, what's going on? Looking forward. Are there any tight ends that you would like to see the Chiefs go after to be eventual successors to Travis Kelce, since Jody unfortunately can't stay healthy? So I think realistically, we have to think of this as a different situation. I don't think we can think of successor to Kelce. I think we need to think of moving on. It's going to be very much like the Chiefs moved on from Tyreek Hill. It wasn't who's taking over for Tyreek Hill. It's how are the Chiefs going to change their offense? How are the Chiefs going to change their offense when Travis Kelce is no longer in Kansas City? Because he's different. Unless you're getting a guy who can read defenses like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, it's just going to be very, very different. So I'm still trying to grasp how they're going to change their offense, because what he does brings so much gravity that defense is key on it. So unless you have someone like that already in Kansas City, you're going to have to be a little different with how this whole thing distributes.
It's going to be tough. And I am squarely in the thing that right now, even Dalton Kincaid, who's probably the most athletic of the linebacker of the tight ends from a good tight end class, is not Travis Kelce. You just don't have that kind of movement skill. I think it's going to be a situation that is more like what we saw Jody attempt to do. And what they should have done with Chase Claypool is take a big X wide receiver, bulk him up, and move him to tight end. Because quite frankly, Travis plays 35% of his snaps attached to the line, and the rest he's split out anyway. So for me, I might go the opposite direction and try to pull a wide receiver closer to the line.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go about it. They like to use kind of their bigger receivers like that anyway. I saw Rashee Rice helping out some of their offensive linemen yesterday, which is it's nice to see him be a chipper. I like that myself, but yeah, definitely it's gonna be difficult, Werewolf. But in the next couple of years, we'll get to some of the draft prospects. I'm sure. We'll cover those in the offseason as well, because you never really know. I do think they're gonna draft one. Last call here for Super.
It ain't there.
Yeah, free agents. No. The free agent pool is not. No, it's not good. It's not good. Last call here for super chats as we wind down here with the last 12-ish minutes. I'll get your guys' questions in there. We'll get out here, give you guys the rest of your Monday night. Kyle, can Rashee be a viable number 2 option going forward, or is this just a Raiders ain't that good thing? Is this sustainable? So, yes and no. If they feed him the targets, if he's getting 7-ish targets a week, yes, he can be a viable wide receiver 2 or a number 2 option. If he's not getting the volume, it's going to be sporadic like it has been. But that's kind of what we saw with Juju last year. If he got the volume, yeah, he's there. He can do it.
It worked with Juju because he was an experienced vet, though. Unfortunately, I see Rashee right now as a flower. a beautiful, delicate flower. You got to feed him to grow. You got to sprinkle him with water and give him the things that he needs, sunlight and food and water, and grow it. If you don't actively do that, I think it's going to be fits and starts just like we've seen.
Yeah, that's very true. Get in those targets, Andy. Do it.
Do it.
Cody, thank you, man. Nice to see you in here. Did you guys see McCole had surgery today? I did not see that.
I
Didn't
did
see
not
it
either.
anywhere. That's good information. That's good to know. Thank you, Cody. I guess we'll find out more about that later as we get throughout the season here. Appreciate the heads up. All right. Abo, I hope that I pronounced that properly, and my apologies if I did not. Orlovsky mentioned Rice's drop issues are due to him stopping his feet. Rice always thinking to go. So is he better catching on the move? What do you think? I think that stopping your feet, one, kind of slows your brain down a little bit, right? Like you have to. It seems like when you're stopping and waiting, everything maybe slows down for you a little bit. When you're running a route or you're running a go route and the ball's in the air, you don't have time to stop and think about where my hands are. I personally tend to think it's more of just him trying to transition to yak. About most of the time when you see him drop the ball, this is what's happening. You're seeing the ball here, but you're also seeing his head turn this way. So it's two things. I don't necessarily think it's because he's stopping his feet. I think that can make you have more concentration drops. But if you watch him catch a football and then look away before the ball is completely secure, that's what I typically see with his drops.
Well, and I think it all comes back to the routes that he's being asked to run, the defense that he's seeing. He's not a guy that played against a ton of zone in college.
It's true.
Like he wanted a guy up on his body that he could take advantage of physically. When he's asked to run over the middle and sit down in a zone and wait for the ball, and then you can go, he's like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult. It's a patience thing, and I think he will grow out of it.
Yeah, I agree. And mostly it's concentration drops. It's not like he's dropping balls through contact or things like that. It's just concentration stuff. So it's gonna come out in the wash, I think. So I appreciate the question. This one's for you, Ryan.
Since you like fullbacks, how about this scenario? The first and goal on the 1 yard with Pacheco and a running back. We bring in Noddy in as the fullback and have him run downhill as a blocker for Pacheco. I don't mind that. Noddy's not the most. This is what Kendrick Coburn's for. This is what
Yes.
Colin Saunders was for. Noddy, like, he needs a little bit of a head of steam. You know what I mean? Like, he's got good hip explosion, but he ain't running fast. You know what I mean? So I'd rather see him use somebody that can get a little bit more momentum when they actually make contact with the defenders. But I like the concept, Jonathan. I'm with you.
It's fun. It's a fun concept. That's what we're saying. H-back love. A little bit of H-back love.
Hit stuff.
Appreciate you, Jonathan. Kev, thank you for the super chat. Hot take. Rashee Rice will have 1,000 yards this year. Where's he at?
That's what I was just going to go check.
I mean,
let's have a quick look. Receiving. If I can get the dang thing to load.
Yeah, right.
Okay, evidently I'm not going to, though. So
all right, that's fine. I don't know where he's at right now. If he's close to 600 yards, all right, maybe. If he's at there, maybe he's at there.
He might be. I'm looking. Hold on. Bear with me just a minute. Just a minute. It is. Yeah, 527. So he's just a little bit shy of that.
Yeah, he's a little shy.
If he turns it up, he's got 6 ball games. I mean, if he hits 80 yards a game, he's in. I think it's within the realm of possibility, striking distance.
It's a hot take, but it's one of those hot takes you're like, yeah, I could see it. I love it, Kev. Appreciate that. And I love the call out. It's one of my favorites. Callie, what's going on, man? What's up, fellas? I'm in belief that we should upgrade at running back next year. What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm with you. I've been on that train since it's taken over. I think that Pacheco's a great 2 that consistently injects energy into your team. The difference is that he's going to be the guy going forward, even if they draft somebody, unless he loses his job. So he's going to be that guy, but I would like to see more of a little bit more of a split with someone a little bit more talented.
I agree. For me, it's not even talented. For me, it's more explosive. A guy that has that vision that once he hits the corner, he can go and make dudes
you mean
miss.
Laterally?
I do mean laterally. That's what I'm saying.
That makes way more sense.
Like, because when he gets out and open, he can go in a straight line, But he's not making dudes miss, right? Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for. I want short area quickness. I want him to be able to stick his foot in and make some dudes just fly by. So
Very boxy.
Yeah, that's where I would go.
It's funny. You can see him do all the 90-degree turns too. Like he stops and he turns, he turns, he turns. You can see it happening.
Dude, that shotgun counter step, it's great. I mean, it's damn near a right angle.
It is. It's hilarious. Thank you for the super chat, Callie. What's going on, Night Hunter? It's been 2 years already. Keep it going. You keep it going. Thank you. We're going to be here no matter what. Thank you for being a member for 2 years. It's awesome. Fantastic night. Thank you. Voodoo. What's going on? Who would you rather have? Troy Franklin in the first round or BYU tackle who's draft eligible? Yes. I forget how to pronounce his name. Kingsman Suleimanian, I believe.
Suamali, is that how it is?
It's close. I know who you're talking about. But yes, we made the mistake on previous show that saying he wasn't draft eligible. He is draft eligible, and I'd rather have Troy Franklin.
Yeah. Okay. If I have my way, there's a top 15 tackle in this draft that goes to them, so they don't need Troy Franklin because they've already given up their one. I think Troy will probably get into the first round, so I think that's probably for me right now. I'd rather take my chances with a second round wide receiver than I would a second round tackle.
Okay, that's fair. That's entirely fair. I'm still thinking that they have their tackle on the roster. That's why I'm going Franklin.
Okay.
Thanks, Voodoo. Appreciate that. Donnie on the couch. What's up, man? Could we steal Michael Pittman from Indy? I don't think so. I think he's the best version of himself in Indy, and he's been playing well.
What's he going to do for you that's different? How's he going to make this offense more dynamic?
Yeah.
I trust him.
But yeah. Michael Pittman is fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
But look who's doing better in the NFL right now from the receivers that came out of USC. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown, the lowest drafted of the three big USC receivers. That should yes, he's in the better offense of them as well. But Michael Pittman Jr. is this possession guy who's decent at identifying zones, but he's not an explosive dude. And Drake London, better route runner, big guy, possession guy. Like it's the smaller player who's more useful. I also don't see Indy letting him go. I think that they're going to give him a good contract and he's going to stay in Indy. Personally.
Suamataya.
Okay. That makes way more sense.
There is Brayden Time too, by the way. He is draft eligible as well, the other tackle from BYU.
Oh, look at that. Just BYU churning out offensive linemen. William, thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on Marquise Brown? I mean, I'm not even going to let Ryan answer this question because he can't stand Marquise Brown. I like Marquise Brown. I do believe he brings explosivity to your game. And he and Rashee Rice would be a very good 1-2 punch. I think that they complement each other well. He's obviously Rashee, the bigger body. Marquise can be your field stretcher. But at the end of the day, it's about the money. I think that the Cardinals are going to give him a good amount of money to stay there. He's still relatively young, and he does have a tendency to get some injuries. He does have that tendency. I also think that Kyler wants him to stay in Arizona. I don't think Kyler wants him going anywhere.
I'm hearing Kyler might be out, so it might not be an option.
I don't understand this talk about Kyler unless you're getting like draft picks. Like, okay, but I don't think he's going anywhere. But we'll see.
As far as Hollywood goes, I want to believe, Dan. I want to believe.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do. Thank you, William. I don't think you do. Dez, what's up? What's going on, man? Thank you for the super chat. We do appreciate it very much, you guys. All of your super chats. You guys are fantastic. Best fans out there. Will it make more sense to draft left tackle in round 1 and target either Hollywood Brown, Ridley, or maybe Mooney in free agency, or focus on drafting a wide receiver in round 1? So I will let Ryan take this question first, because I have my answer. I just don't know if you guys are going to like it.
I go back to what I said a little bit ago, Des. Like, I think, especially if we're talking about them being able to move up a little bit, if they have to hold at 32, okay, maybe that changes my math. And you're in a situation like you were with FAU last year, that everybody goes. And if you can't move up, you have to take the best of who's left in either position. And maybe that changes things. But if it were me and I can move up to 20 or into 15, I believe that the left tackle is more important, and I want to go young, and I want to get that squared away for the next, conclusion of Patrick's career, and I'll worry about the wide receivers later.
I get it. I get it. I think it's time to stop messing around at wide receiver. Okay. Stop worrying about other teams' cast-offs. Stop worrying about, we'll get him in the second, third round. Go get a guy. Go get a guy. First-round receivers are, in today's game, have a much better hit rate than they do in the second and third rounds. Yes, you can get them. You can get the Tank Dells. You can. Mm-hmm. They're just going to be it's a much higher hit rate to get a guy in the first round. And this class is the one to do it. It is. So, I'm going wide receiver myself.
Okay. All right. So here, this conversation will be going on in the Chiefs front office in the war room all spring, folks. So hey, we will revisit.
We'll be talking about this all offseason, guys. Appreciate you again, Des, for the super chat. Clinton, will the Bengals regret not drafting Penei Sewell? I think they already have.
Yeah, unless they're asleep. They're there right now.
I think they already have. Their offensive line's awful. It's bad. Yeah. If they would have won the Super Bowl, probably not regretting it as much. But I'm telling you right now, that offensive line would be so much better with Penei Sewell.
But I mean, honestly, if Burrow's at his best, like he was at the end of last season, or any spots in between, you can get Patrick a run versus money for the best quarterback in the league, right? Like I put him at 2. And he's on the bench because you didn't protect him. That's on you. So I think they already regret it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Appreciate you, Clinton. Thank you. Nick, thank you for the super chat. Who is the perfect receiver for this offense in this draft? I like Neighbors personally. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. The perfect guy is Marvin Harrison Jr. because he can do it all. But realistically, if they're trading up, I think Neighbors makes a lot of sense. I know that Ryan likes Polk a lot for this offense. I think Franklin makes a lot of sense too. I really do. A speed guy who can run routes. I think that's perfect. He makes a lot of sense.
I mean, Xavier Worthy makes a lot of sense. He should not. I don't think I think he could pull it into the first round, but I don't necessarily think he has a first round grade. Put him with Rice, and I like that combination. Personally, I think the most well-rounded guy that can do just about everything is Dunze, but unless you're trading in the top 10, I think he's right now. I have him second after Harrison. I think he's going to go so early that he's out of the realm of possibility for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. Neighbors is a fun player. Yeah. He's super explosive. He does kind of mirror what Rashee Rice is to this team, though. So,
and doesn't Coleman as well? I haven't watched as much Coleman as you have, but I don't see the versatility there.
He's a big guy. He's got return experience, so his short area ability and movement skills are good. But I don't see a ton of the zone understanding. Like he just doesn't have it. He clear a linebacker. Just keep going. Just keep going on a stem. Hey. Like, hey, buddy, you got to get in there. You got to get in there. That's what a spot is. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you. Dan Akers gifted an RGR membership. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you. I'm loving. We're seeing some gifted memberships in here, guys.
Yeah,
you're doing a fantastic job of sharing the love, and we love holidays. That so very much. You guys, awesome.
Y'all rock.
We got a couple more super chats in here, and then we'll get you guys on out. Cody, how about wide receiver Loveland drafted by Kansas City? Eligible. So I believe you're talking about tight end Colston Loveland, who is a fantastic tight end. Let me just look here. If he's a junior or a sophomore, he is a sophomore. I don't see red shirt, so that tells me he's a true sophomore. Yeah, he's not draft eligible, guys, but he's going to be next year. He actually might be the best tight end in that draft class. He might be the best tight end in that draft class next year. He's special. He's a special.
Well, I
dude.
figure we have what 20. Well, we got about 22 years to wait for Kelsey Jr. So yeah, we're gonna be out here.
I like.
Hell, he might be a
love.
singer.
I love Colston. I love Colston out of Michigan. He's a fantastic player. All right, guys. Last one here. Now we just kind of did the Malik Neighbors thing, Ron, but you so graciously offered up a super chat. So we'll fantasize about this idea for a second. So thank you. What's up, guys? As an LSU fan, also, I'd love to see Malik Neighbors paired up with Patrick Mahomes. Think about the possibility of having a 0 to 60 wide receiver that can actually run what MVS does, but he can do it faster. He can get there quicker. And then he's not going to lose the football down the field. I mean, that's the kind of player that I sign up for. Also, he's super elusive in space, and he's explosive in space, things that MVS can't do. Cannot do it. He comes in and replaces MVS immediately. He's a slot player at LSU, but you want to know another player than LSU that was used the majority out of the slot? Justin Jefferson. Look at him now. Now, that doesn't translate to all their wide receivers because Terrace Marshall has been awful in the NFL. But Neighbors is
get
much
him out of
better
that
than
town and let's see what happens.
He's much better than Marshall. Thank you, Ron. Very much appreciated. Now, this is just putting up there by Ryan for the last comment of the evening before we get on out of here.
Yeah, because Hunter, you nailed it. Maybe he'll be a singer. I don't know. Let's just hope it's not a boy band. Okay.
You never know. Maybe maybe they dress up as football players and sing, or maybe they dress up as singers and play football. I don't know. Maybe they may do something different. I don't
know. Travis does. Yeah. Hey, that works just fine. Whatever works. Folks, thanks for being with us on Monday night. Thank you for all the great questions, and we very much appreciate all of your support, whether it's super chats or you new members, especially the gifting memberships. Very much thank you. We'd like to see it grow here. It is the holiday season, so cheers to everyone here. We're going to have everything for you. Dan's working on film. We're going to have the guys back in. I just put up a piece tonight, if you haven't seen it, and you are looking at the draft class. It's about the fallout from the quarterbacks. Who's going to go when, where, and these three guys need to go back to school and get out of the way a little bit. That's where I'm at. So check out NFL 33 and get checked in over there. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Looks like maybe somebody will score some points. I don't know. Jordan Addison, help us out, will you?
Please.
My number one from last year. Let's see what he can do. We'll have it for you all week long. And then Friday, should still be able to do the stream for the breakdown game plan. Make sure that you're here with us, because after that, I'm going to be radio silence until I'm on the ground in Green Bay. So hold your fingers crossed and stuff for me that I don't freeze to death. Looks like it's going to be about 8 degrees, so I'm looking forward to it.
Ooh, doggy.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to stay warm this week. Thank you all for being with us. We appreciate you very much. Like, sub, hit the bell. We'll see you next time. Dan, say goodnight to the little one and have a good one, dude.
Always, guys. Thank you for being here and joining us on this great Monday night. See you next time.
As I break stuff.
Yeah, that happens.